Doc Rivers continues to, time and time again, not get it when it comes to getting... Oh! Let him play!
How Connecticut are you? Are you wearing khakis and a polo?
Regarding Lynch, who cares? What was he going to do today? Was he going to address each reporter? Oh, thank you for the question.
Cap ran through the entire Yankee lineup, but he left out one guy, and his name is Alex Rodriguez.
I like to try and forget about him because.
From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City, brought to you by Locks of the Week Radio. Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans, and a pleasure to have you here for Super Bowl Week 2016 edition. Good to have you with us from the Dave in the City studios in sunny Southern California for this Super Bowl game coming up between the Carolina Panthers, winners of the NFC, and the Denver Broncos, winners of the AFC, for all the marbles in the NFL. So on this big week, we have a few guests for you. A lot of longtime collaborators will be joining us in this edition of the Super Bowl Week series of podcasts. And we'll begin with our friend Jacob Rosales in just a couple of minutes. Tomorrow on Super Bowl Week here in the city, our second podcast features, let me see who Tom in New Jersey and potentially Andy in Seattle. That's coming up same time as today's podcast, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. On Wednesday, we do a regular show, which means 9 o'clock we come on the air as we do every week. And we'll do our prop bets feature with our friend Tom in Northern Virginia. And only Tom in Northern Virginia, and I'll explain in a minute. We might get one other to join, but regarding our friend Kevin on the Cape, you may have seen on our website and on our social media that he will not be with us for the foreseeable future. And the reason for that is because he announced to me in a text last week that he hired a personal trainer, and he's going to try to kick the habit of bad fitness. He really wants to get in shape. He wants to get better, and he wants to improve his wellness. And we were talking about that in our last podcast a couple of weeks ago. And while it's going to be a big blow to our show to not have him every week for the random questions segment, honestly, I'm sure you would agree, his health and his well-being are much more important to us than just a silly little podcast. So we're very excited for him. And Junkman, if you're listening tonight, I'm so proud of you, man. I want to wish you the best of luck. And go get him, man. Go get him, Junkman. Go get him. I can't wait. You're going to be a lean, mean, junkie machine. But for the meanwhile, we'll try to keep the seat warm with everybody else. So again, Wednesday, no junkie for the prop bets, but we will have our friend Tom in Northern Virginia. Maybe someone else will join us at the same time. We'll see about that. But first, we kick off. Kick off! Did you get that? Kick off! Super Bowl coverage with our friend Jacob El Hebrew Hammer Rosales, who just so happens to be in San Francisco, his home as of the moment. And same side as the Super Bowl this year. So it's a fun time, I can imagine, for the Bay Area. Jake, welcome to the program. How are you tonight?
How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
Doing well. And again, this is just a big deal. I imagine it's the first time that the Bay Area has had the opportunity to host a Super Bowl since 1985, which was for the 84 season. So that would be a span of about 31 years since they've done Super Bowls. And they had the fortuitous they were fortuitous to get their hometown 49ers in the game. The game was hosted at Stanford Stadium, which was a different looking place than it is today. This year it'll be at the more or less brand new Levi's Stadium. So, it's a pretty exciting time. I mean, describe to me what your feeling is for your home, basically, getting a Super Bowl.
No, nobody really cares. Yeah. I'm dead serious.
No, you really? They don't care?
I'm not fucking lying. Yeah, no, nobody cares.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
I mean, some people are really excited about it, I guess.
Right.
But, how will we say? Okay, there was a statue in Alamo Square Park, which some people might know Alamo Square Park as the place where the painted ladies are.
Okay.
which, I don't know, if we're talking to the 90s kids, Painted Ladies are the beginning scene for the shitty show with the little girls and Bob Saget.
Oh, Full House, yeah.
Full House, yes.
Yeah.
Full House
Mm-hmm.
part, yeah. They had a statue up, and it says Super Bowl 50, and it got vandalized multiple times, so finally they took it down.
Really?
I mean, people don't really... Oh, yeah. The Ferry Building, 3 blocks from the Ferry Building all the way up Market is all closed off. It's a shit show down there.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of... Don't get me wrong. It's cool. Some people are really excited, but, I mean... It's a pain in the ass if you actually live and work here.
I can imagine.
Exactly,
See, that I can imagine. I'm definitely seeing that, yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I live in the city. My buddy is throwing a Super Bowl party in San Jose. I'm not going. There's no fucking way I'm going. Even if I could, let's say maybe I take, a back route and get to his house a different way, traffic's going to be a shit show. I don't want to drive that day. And so what am I going to take? Caltrain? Caltrain is actually going to the stadium. It'll be a mess down there. So for me, I'm like, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go to somebody else's house. So it's exciting in the sense that, I'm going to try to go down there and check it out, and I'm sure it'll be fun. I've seen a lot of people post about it, and I'm sure it's pretty cool. It's not something that we've seen before here. That's kind of awesome. But at the same time, I don't really see it as I don't think a lot of San Francisco is excited about it. And keep in mind, San Francisco is not really a hugely sports city outside of the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. Even with the Giants, let me put it this way. My office is right by AT&T Park, and I would say, granted, it's heavily engineering, a lot of engineers. Most of the people at that office don't give a shit about the Giants. It's just a fact. And we work literally next to the goddamn stadium. Now, granted, there is a reason also. It's kind of annoying when you're walking out of the office and you're trying to get home, and there's a bunch of drunk people going yeah, Giants, yeah, 'cause they're all ready to go into the game, and you're just trying to get the fuck home.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, that'd be tough. That would be tough. No question.
But my point is that the city itself, it's not really all that cracking. Granted, it's Monday, so I'm sure it's going to pick up. There's some people that are excited about it, but a lot of people just don't give a shit. And it's really just a pain in the ass if you're having to travel through that area at all, or if your office is down there, or if anything's down there that you're trying to get to. It's not fun. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah,
but it's kind of cool. And keep in mind the game's not even going to be here.
Right?
It's
Exactly.
Close
Yeah,
to here.
Yeah.
Santa Clara is not even fucking close to here.
Mm-hmm.
So the traffic for that is going to be different. Super Bowl Sunday will be different there than it will be here. You're going to see a lot of people leaving the city probably. It's not going to be a good idea to be on the freeway between, on the 101 basically. It's not going to be fun if you're trying to get on Caltrain. It's going to be a fucking mess. But during the week, it's all going to be up here. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are probably not too excited.
That's the thing, yeah. We were talking about this in emails this morning, and our friend Andrew Jacobson was in on those emails, and he was talking about how most of the events leading up to Super Bowl Sunday will be in the city. So that's the interesting distinction. But it's not a unique distinction. I was pointing out some other cities that had the same situation. Miami's actually a pretty good example. Their stadium's not anywhere near similar to Levi's. Their Dolphin Stadium is far away too, so just because it's over in some suburb doesn't mean that all the events are there. So that's the situation we have. For the game itself, Levi's Stadium, a much kicked around stadium. A lot of people have taken shots at Levi's. Do you think that this criticism is unfair as they start the preparation for Super Bowl 50?
Well, I've been pretty clear about this. I look, it's a very corporate stadium. Everything's corporate. You got Pepsi here, this there, that there. Everything's just all fucking corporate. This, corporate that, sponsorships, blah, 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 blah. There's no question that, it's a little bit of an odd, it's, how would you say, it's kind of an odd feel there. It doesn't have, the character that AT&T has. It's very... It almost feels cookie cutter in a lot of ways. That said, it's an awesome stadium. It's an awesome facility. It really is. A lot of people were worried about it getting loud. It can get very loud in there. It's not consistent. A lot of the fans are kind of doing other things, or they're not in their seats. It's never packed, whatever it might be. But when it needs to get loud, it actually does get pretty loud. It isn't as continuous as it was at Candlestick, but in terms of the location itself, or not the location, but the stadium itself, it's a beautiful stadium. It's an extremely well put together place. The facilities are nice. The food is, better than normal that you get at a stadium, especially Candlestick. It's probably not as good as, say, AT&T Park, but there's the food's not bad at all either. It's a little overpriced, but that's kind of expected.
Right.
It takes a lot of heat, and I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of people are still really upset that they left San Francisco, and I get that. A lot of people are still really upset that they went to an area that's very, very. Literally around Santa Clara, and I saw this one time, and I thought it was really hilarious, and I'll never forget it. Somebody posted on an article on describing Santa Clara, and they basically said it's essentially like where Anatech is on Office Space. In other words, it's just a bunch of corporate buildings, corporate parking lots. That's all that's around there.
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
It's a dull area. There's nothing happening there. Nobody gives a fuck. The golf course there isn't even that nice. They're probably going to tear it down. I mean, outside of Great America, fucking nothing happens there. And even Great America sucks. Sorry, Great America.
I've always wondered about Great America, because I'm like, is it as good as Magic Mountain? It's not, huh? Okay.
Look, if we're 11 years old, I'm sure Great America is great, just like Magic Mountain.
Right.
As an adult, whatever. But that area is just not what people think of when they think 49ers football. Candlestick certainly had that kind of feel to it. Candlestick had that character to it. It got cold. It got windy. It was right by the water. It had that feel. The place was a fucking dump. So in terms of upgrading the place, they upgraded massively.
Right.
Massively upgraded the place. The Wi-Fi is fantastic there.
Oh, they have Wi-Fi.
Weirdly
Nice.
enough. Oh, yeah. The Wi-Fi is great there. I wish they had more places. I wish they had plugs by the seats. That would have been nice.
Oh, yeah.
But I realized that probably would have been a pain in the ass, and it probably would have taken way too much power.
Right.
But that's fine. The place is actually nice. It takes a lot of heat, but it's actually a really great facility. The field, yeah, but again, I think a lot of people are just upset with Jim Harbaugh and Ted York and all that shit. I think that's really where the complaints come from. Initially, there was some issues with getting people in and out of the stadium and yada yada. Honestly, I've never driven into the area. I've driven out of the area once. I've driven out of the stadium once, or at least the golf course parking area. It took a long fucking time, but it was nothing that I never experienced at Candlestick. Getting in and out of there by public transportation is dramatically better than Candlestick, and it's night and day.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's really tough on weekdays. I'll admit that. Weekdays suck. It's awful, but that's kind of expected. Weekdays are just never a good time to have a game. You have a lot of people leaving that area. You have a lot of people showing up. So it's not fun. It's really not fun in those terms. But on weekends, on a Sunday, dude, if you're taking public transportation and you're coming from the city even, and you get on a Caltrain, it's a quick shot. You can drive down to the VTA and catch that because the Caltrain's going to go there anyways. I did that one time. I've done that a couple times where I drove down, paid $5 for parking at the VTA, jumped on VTA. That takes about 25 minutes. Get back on the VTA. It takes a little bit longer, obviously, getting back because everybody's leaving at the same time. But again, you're talking about 45 minutes or so. It's really not that bad. It's actually pretty solid.
On a train, that's impressive, especially for that distance.
I've done VTA also in San Jose, when I was living in San Jose and going to the games.
Yep.
My buddy and I, we from our couch, and we were kind of a lot further part of San Jose, like Santa Clara and San Jose. Like San Jose is huge. Let me break it down. We literally had to cross all the way across San Jose.
Wow.
And San Jose is not a small city. It is not a small city at all. Like landmass-wise, it is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It took about, from our couch to our seats, it took an hour and 15 minutes.
Took
To get
longer.
back, it was about an hour and 45 and an hour and 50 minutes. And I'm talking to our seats, like sitting on the couch watching football to sitting on our seats waiting for the game to on the seats, game's over, we walk and get to, like, it was about an hour 45 minutes to get back to the couch watching Sunday Night Football,
Okay.
which is amazing considering I've been stuck at Candlestick for 2.5 hours and felt good about it. So there's a lot of upgrades. It certainly needs, it needs to get more. People need to get more excited about it. If the team's doing well, I think that'll change things. It is a little bit, I don't know, corporate, I think is the best word I can give you. That's the best I got. It's very corporate.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the same time, people talk about AT&T Park like it's got all this character. There's a fucking giant Coke bottle in the fucking stand.
I mean, I like it, though, but I get your point.
No, I agree. I think it's awesome. But there's a giant fucking Coke bottle that's a slide for children. People act like that's not corporate. It's a fucking Coke bottle.
Point well taken.
I get the... Look, I'm not bashing on the Coke. I think it's fucking awesome. I'm not bashing on AT&T Park. I think it's great. And I don't think Levi's is able to kind of mix in the corporate with still kind of, it still looks, the way I see it, and the way I kind of look at it is I don't feel like that stadium was built for football. I feel like that stadium was built for events and they're going to make a shit ton of money with it.
Interesting.
And in 50 years, it's still going to be a solid place to actually have concerts and stuff like that. Hockey in the park, whatever the fuck they call it. I don't know, whatever you weird
Winter
hockey
Classic.
people call that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Winter Classic.
Yeah.
That sounds so cheesy, by the way. I'm sorry. It's just Winter Classic. What the fuck does that even mean? Anyways. But yeah, that thing, like stuff, it's for stuff like that. It's for soccer. I bought a Copa tickets, Copa America tickets.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be huge. I bought tickets for that. I'm gonna try to resell them, to friends and stuff like that. And I might try to catch a game, like stuff like that. I mean, that's gonna be huge. USA soccer game in a big time tournament. That's huge. Argentina's not Argentina. Argentina. Yes, Argentina's gonna be one of those games. Like that's huge. This is huge. Like Messi's gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like
wow.
That's why they built that stadium. They built it for the Super Bowl. They built it for those events. They built it for Taylor Swift and Coldplay and all kinds of other bullshit like that. They didn't have me or the fans in mind for that shit. But in the end, it's still not that bad of a place. It gets bashed a lot, and some of it's fair, and a lot of it isn't.
It's going to be a fun time coming up in the next maybe 10 years because eventually LA is going to have their version of a giant stadium, and it's going to be great for events too, and they'll have the Rams there. And I'm assuming that they'll retain the NFC West division affiliation. So imagine those rivalry games. Like they'll be playing, I don't know if it's going to be a rivalry game or not, but let's say it is. Like both of those teams get good someday, and then you're going to see games at that stadium, and then you'll see games down here. It'll be a very modern version of a great football rivalry if it comes to pass.
Well, you know what the difference between yogurt and LA is?
Oh, don't do this. What?
Yogurt has culture.
Oh, good Lord. Will you stop?
I'm joking. I love LA. I'm just fucking with you. But really, you guys are going to get a stadium over there, and it's probably going to be just as corporate and just as cookie cutter.
No, correct. Correct. There's no question. But it looks really nice from the sketches anyway. I mean, that's the thing that I really like about it. So
now, I will admit, Levi's Stadium from that one side looks like a giant shopping center, like a mall or like a condo. But then actually, when you look on the other side, it doesn't look so bad.
True.
But that one side where where the press box is, like if you're on the parking lot on that side, it looks just like a giant condo, or look like a giant
Office
Levi's,
park.
like a Levi's store. Like that's what it looks like.
Yep.
But once you get on the other side, or you get on the side of it, it doesn't look that bad. I don't like the fact that I wish they would have kind of like maybe had like a diagonal or like a slope or something. It just looks like a giant building.
It is unusual,
but the design is actually on purpose on the inside because what they say is that the sound from the stadium bounces back into the field because of Like it's just that big building basically blocks everything from getting out.
Interesting.
By the way, it's looking like Ted Cruz is going to win Iowa, and Marco Rubio also got 23%, and it is almost could possibly beat Trump. I don't think he's going to. I think he's a little bit too far behind, but he's at Cruz is at 28, Trump's at 24, and Rubio's at 23.
And
So
what Jacob speaks of course, is the Iowa caucus in place, right, and going on as we speak tonight. So, if Jacob, it's just he'll provide some updates on that. And my comment is no comment. I have no comment on that. But it is actually interesting to note that Rubio was starting to get some momentum in that caucus. I mean, what little I saw of it.
I literally just tweeted about 10 minutes ago, Rubio doing well in Iowa is not good news for Trump and Cruz, or for the Democrats either. He can beat Hillary or Bernie. That's
you predicted this a while ago, though.
I'm not throwing my hat into anybody. I'm not saying I agree with anybody or I like Rubio or whatever. I'm just saying I think that the Democrats have a couple of very flawed candidates in the general election.
Okay.
And Rubio is a young, vibrant, conservative option that I think is a lot more electable than, say, Ted Cruz or Donald Trump.
I agree with that.
That's all
I
I'm
do
saying.
agree. Yeah, I think it's an opinion, but I think it's one that I can totally support.
Well, I can back that opinion with facts and empirical evidence.
Right.
But that's a different podcast.
It's a very different podcast. Maybe what we could do someday, but that's a good update. Thanks for that, Jake. We'll if you have any other information, just let us know as we go along. Yeah. So very good. So let's continue with our Super Bowl coverage. We've spoken about the site. Let's speak about the teams now. So we have the Panthers coming in. They look as dominant as any team. Really, that defense. And hey, I tell you what. I mean, I predicted the Panthers to make the NFC Championship game. I had them playing the Cowboys, although the Cowboys were just hit by a bunch of injuries, specifically Tony Romo, so that did not work out. But I got to tell you that I did feel like the Panthers were going to eventually be like a good playoff team because that defense was always there, and it was there last year. And this year, it just seems like Cam's not making the mistakes. So we'll start with the Panthers first. Yeah, this is a very good team, and I think, as you said, as you said to me privately, that I think people are really selling this team short. I don't think people realize how good they actually are. Arizona really was a great team all year. They embarrassed some of those teams in some of their games. Now, they lost a very important defensive player, Tyrann Mathieu, who they call the Honey Badger. I do think that affected them, but I didn't think they were going to get this embarrassed. They got killed. It was like 51 to like 17 or something.
I don't remember.
It was ridiculous.
It was after about turnover 4, I think I stopped paying attention. So, it's interesting. Like, first of all, I got to give you credit because I don't think anybody really saw the Panthers being that good.
Right.
And I don't even think you saw it, so I don't even know I'm giving
No, to be
credit.
fair,
So,
I didn't think they were going to be 15-1. I didn't think they'd be that good.
You know what, Dave? Go fuck yourself. You didn't know shit. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you called it. You said it all year. From day one, you were like, the Panthers are solid. I think they can go to the NFC Championship game. I think Cam's putting it together. I know they don't have any fucking receivers, but their defense is great, and Cam's going to put it together this year. And you were right. Very, very, very right. This is what I'll say, and I think this is a bit of an effect of stats. Stats, guys, and I love stats. You know this about me. I fantasy baseball. I love, Pro Football Focus, Football Outsiders, all that shit. I'm into stats. I'm not against stats. But what I think really what happened here with this is that you had a lot of different stats people saying the Panthers aren't a good 14-0 team. They're historically one of the worst 14-0, 13-0, whatever. Whatever the fucking number was at the time. They're not that good for what their record shows compared to all these other teams. Which is, they were correct about. When you look at the numbers, it's great. And a lot of people started running with that and saying, oh, the Panthers aren't that good, the Panthers aren't that good. But the point is they were 14-0. It's not that or 13 or whatever they ended up at. They went and won a lot of football games.
That they did.
Even if they aren't that good, they're still pretty damn good. You don't get to that. You don't become 15-1 in the NFL and you're a bad football team. You're still a damn good football team. That doesn't mean that you're going to assume that they're the best team in the league. Fair. But when you look back at what this team has done, well, they were 3-6-1 or something like that, or 3-7-1 last year. I think it was 3-6-1, if I'm not mistaken. And they went on a run, and they won every single game, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of the year last year. Could be wrong about this, someone can fact check me.
I'll look it up.
And then they lost the Seahawks by 2 touchdowns. They were driving down the field. This is in Seattle. They were driving down the field to tie the game up. And Cam Newton threw a pick 6. And the guy that held out at the beginning of the year ran it back for a touchdown. They lost by 2 touchdowns. So literally the game changed on that play. And literally the play before that, Cam Newton made one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen on a scramble. And it was really just a testament. I remember messaging you guys saying those 2 plays just completely encapsulate what Cam Newton is so far in his career.
Yep.
Just the phenomenal athleticism he has, the ability that he has, and then just the what the fuck are you doing? You called it. You said that he was going to put it together this year, and he has. He's taken a lot of those negatives out, but that athleticism is still there. He's playing good quarterback. He's a complete player now. Since then, this team has won something they're like fucking 20-something, 1-1. This is a good football team. Why anybody thought that Seattle or Arizona were going to mop the floor of this team is out of their minds. And that's why I was so adamant. You and Andy can attest this. I was so adamant that they would beat up on Seattle. And I was almost right. Half right.
Yeah, they did have a big lead.
Back.
Yep.
I was adamant about it because and part of that was I didn't think Seattle was as good as their record indicated. They weren't as good as the numbers that they were putting up against shitty teams. But part of that was also Carolina's a good fucking football team. So I really like Carolina a lot. I love their defense. I think Cam Newton's a complete player. I think they have the edge. The only thing I'll say is that, Denver's defense, which I guess we could get to right now, but, they are a complete football team. They're the best running team in the NFL, and that includes Cam Newton. Their defense is solid as hell. They got some of the best playmakers on the defensive line in that front 7, and they got a shutdown corner out there, and their safeties aren't too bad either. They're a complete team, and they got a complete quarterback, and if they put it all together and don't make too many mistakes, they should win the game. And I don't know why anybody would expect anything different. At this point, I think people are kind of seeing what I'm seeing and what you saw from the beginning. But for a little while there, it was like, are you guys out of your mind? This isn't a first-round knockout team. This isn't the Falcons when they got beat by the Packers a couple of years ago in the first round. This isn't that team. This is a good football team. This is a solid team that just does everything you have to do to win a game. And they're not really risky, but they're only risky when they need to be. And that's that's where I'm at with the Panthers. So,
nicely put, Jacob. No, I'll tell you what. In full transparency, I was skeptical of them going undefeated. I never thought they were going to go undefeated. I really thought they were probably going to have a slide where maybe they lost 2 out of 3, but then they would have been fine after that. The reason I thought that was because of the way that they were giving up leads in the middle of all these games. They would have a lead against the Colts, and then they'd have to go to overtime to beat them. And that one was the most ridiculous one that I remember. Up until maybe the playoff game with Seattle, but that one, remember that they were up by 17 in the fourth quarter, and they went to overtime.
Yeah, but listen to what you're saying though.
Right.
Listen to what you're saying. I didn't think that they were going to go undefeated.
Correct.
What does that have to do with winning a Super Bowl?
No, it has nothing to do with winning a Super Bowl.
Being a good team.
That's sort of the point. Once they lost the game, I said that doesn't mean anything. I think they're going to be fine. In fact, it may have been better that they lost the game because they don't have all that pressure on their back about going undefeated, or can they beat the Patriots, or can they beat the Dolphins?
It reminds me of those Miami Heat teams that like would lose a couple games here and there, and everybody's like, it's falling apart. Everybody hates each other. They can't beat anybody. Yada yada yada. It's like they lost 2 games, guys. They're the best team in the East. They're going to win the East, and it's really about them beating whoever's in the West. You know, that's what we're dealing with right now with the Panthers, or at least, you know, at the end of the season there. It's like, well, you know, they're not that good statistically speaking for being an undefeated team. They're probably not going to go undefeated. None of that fucking matters. None of it matters because they're still a good team. So they lost to Atlanta in week 16. Whatever. A division game on the road. I'm supposed to be upset by that. I'm supposed to suddenly question the fact that they're the best team in football at that point. Potentially. Like, it doesn't change who they are.
You know, it's interesting, Jacob. The defense, the teams with the best defenses seem to be the one that have the most success in the playoffs a lot of the time. And I've noticed that with really a lot of Super Bowl teams. And so it's good. This is why this matchup is very interesting to me, even though it probably won't end in a very exciting game. I want to just go back to what you were saying too about last year, about 2014. They were, in fact, 3-8-1. That was November 30th of the year. See how late that was in the year? They were 3-8-1 in Week 13. They won every game the rest of the regular season, finishing at 7-8-1, leading into that playoff game, which, like you said, they had a chance. They were on the doorstep of making that game very interesting. And then, crazily, Newton made a great play and a bad play at the same play. Like, he had a really great move, and then he threw an interception. So, but think about being 3-8 and finishing 7-8-1 and making the playoffs.
So basically, what you're saying is, in the last 24 games, they're 22-1 and no, they're 22-2.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's really good. I mean, that is a run, right? Like that is a run.
And you look
2-2.
And you look at, and again, going back and looking at those 2 games, they barely lost to the Falcons.
Yep.
Late in the season when, you know, undefeated. It's like, it whatever, you know, it's hard to do that. The Broncos didn't do it when they almost did. Remember the Giants, you know, beat them in New York that one year? That was a great game, by the way, but at the time it was like, oh, the Giants beat the Broncos, but it was like, yeah, the Broncos are still the best team in football. You know, they're probably still going to win the Super Bowl. You know, you had that. You see this happening with these, like, undefeated teams. Remember the Packers? They did the same thing. And they sat Aaron Rodgers for no reason, and then they lost to the Giants. Why are the Giants always in this fucking Giants? Anyway,
they're in the middle of all this stuff, isn't it? That funny?
But my point is like, you know, you look at the games they barely lost, and late in the season when they were undefeated, and last year's game they went into that huge underdog against a team that went to the Super Bowl, that almost won the Super Bowl, and they were, again, driving to tie the game up late in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
The score does not really show how close that game was. So this is a good football team, and I'm happy that people are finally taking them seriously.
Definitely. So, you know, we talk about...
it took you a long time to get on this bandwagon, Dave. It took you a long time.
Wait, which one? The Panthers or Cam?
The Panthers bandwagon.
Well,
I've been saying it since
here I am.
Since Jake Delhomme, man. Jake Delhomme. I called them going to the...
That's true. You know, I forgot about that. You were the Panther guy for a while. That's right. Nicely. Oh. See, you can say you were in a band.
I called them. I said that they were going to be a good team that year, and they went to the Super Bowl.
They did.
So
I'm kind of reliving your 2003, huh?
Yeah, I really wanted Jake Delhomme to win because his name's Jake.
I would have been.
That was really it. That was really it. I just wanted him to win because his name was Jake.
It's very, and you're right. You know, not a lot of quarterbacks in the league named Jake. Although we also had Jake Plummer, but
I mean, you got to think about it. Let's think of all the names you got. You know, Joe, a bunch of Joes,
right?
John,
yep,
Tom,
mm-hmm.
You know, Aaron,
Ben,
yep.
Eli.
You know, even Peyton. I mean, it's kind of, you know, Eli.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Come on. Like, we can't get one Jake in there, not one fucking Jake. Not one guy named Jake can win a Super Bowl. Just one. I'm not asking for much, man.
Someday. I mean, you have a better shot with a baseball, I think, with Jake Arrieta. I guess that's it. But But he's good.
know,
But anyway.
I'm not going to root for Jake Arrieta. But yeah, fair point. Fair point.
At any rate, we'll see. I mean, when was the last time a Dave won a Super Bowl? Daves have won a lot of things.
Dave?
Super Bowl.
Remember the Olympic guys, the decathlon guys? Wasn't it Dave?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dave,
Or
whatever his name was. Dave.
Dave versus Dan.
I remember
Wasn't it?
Dave versus Dan. Boy, what a throwback that
Dan,
is. Dave
I think it
versus
was
Dan.
Yeah, Dan. I think it was Dan versus Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dan and Dave.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan and Dave, I think is what it was. I think.
Good deal.
Yeah, that was quite a throwback. I apologize. That was completely unnecessary.
That's a mind-blowing throwback right there.
And I'm also, I mean, I dated myself right there. That's pretty bad.
Bo Jackson, and we talk next. No, I don't know. But,
yeah. Well, I mean, think about this, though. Think about this. There are kids out there who are getting jobs, who are started, like, they're a couple of years out of college that probably have no fucking clue what we're talking about, and were born around those commercials, around that time.
Oh, man. That's crazy. That's true. I mean, look, if I were to go to my friends and say, Dan and Dave, they would know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
but your friends at work would have no clue. That's
Some of them, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's funny. And so those commercials have been around, or almost as old as Peyton Manning's career, and true, right? True. So this is his last game. Apparently, it's his last game. I see a report on NFL.com that he told his friends that this will be it for him. We'll see if that comes to fruition. A couple of people are retiring this year. Chad, I guess I knew it was. I coached myself not to do that, and I did it. Calvin Johnson.
Baby.
Calvin Johnson will retire at the end of this year, according to sources from the Detroit Lions. And good for him, because the Lions are a terrible organization. I feel like this is, rather than risk a concussion, just get out of it now. I think he's actually picking the right time. I feel like it's only going to get worse for him as far as his career. Like, he's probably going to go downhill on a certain level. He was great for a while, though, but I wouldn't say he's the number one wide receiver right now. So I think he's picking a good time to retire. And then Justin Tuck, who played defense for a while, I think he was with the Raiders last year. He will retire too, but he's way past his prime. That's an easy one to call. So retirements for the other two guys, briefly, before we get into the Peyton Manning thing.
Well, the Calvin Johnson one, I think we talked a little bit about this in the emails with Andy when it was first talked about, that he was thinking about it. And then this new report is saying that he actually told the coaches, yeah, I'm retiring, I'm done, which is fairly interesting in and of itself, that he came out and said it outright that he was done. It's not surprising to me. I think we're kind of in a new era of football where I think this is going to happen more so than it used to. Then we got Barry Sanders and Jim Brown. People always bring that up, but I think you're seeing a lot of guys that are thinking about their future more than they're thinking about the money they can make today, right now. They're thinking about their health. They're thinking, I think guys are a lot smarter than they were, even in the 90s when everything was booming, everybody all kind of money. I think they're better with their money. Not all of them, obviously, but I think a lot of them are. A lot of them more educated than they used to be in terms of what they're putting themselves through and what the ramifications are later on in life. And so I think that you're going to start seeing this more and more and more. Even at a guy who's that good. Calvin Johnson has declined a bit, clearly. I don't think there's any question about that.
I was alluding to that. Yeah, certainly he has.
But the reality is that he's still an extremely great receiver. And you're not going to – the Lions aren't going to replace him overnight.
Nope.
Unless they go out and get Alshon Jeffrey. Literally, that's about the only way they can replace him.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think, a guy at that age, not necessarily in his prime, but certainly still has – the guy's got at least still 2 or 3 elite years left. Elite years. And then probably a couple maybe decent. I mean, look at what Anquan Boldin's doing right now. Guy had over 800 yards in the shittiest offense I've ever seen in my entire life. Slightly exaggerated in there. Seriously, 49ers were terrible. The guy had over 800 yards.
Wow.
He's 35 years old. You know?
That's
you don't
pretty
think
good.
Calvin Johnson could do the same damn thing?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I love Anquan Boldin, but he's no Calvin Johnson, and he never was.
It's not even Larry Fitzgerald, buddy.
And I love it. Well, I love Anquan Boldin, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. I'm not going to say something. Not going to say something that I don't mean or that get my 49ers bias on. But I've loved Anquan Boldin since he was at Arizona.
Yeah.
I loved him in Arizona. I loved him in Baltimore. He's the guy. When they got him, I was so excited. I wanted to re-sign him, but whatever. That's another conversation. My point is, it's Calvin Johnson and keep playing. He's walking away. If he walks away, if he ends up walking away, he's walking away because he wants to, because he's thought it through. He's an articulate guy. If you hear him talk, he's smart. This is not a dumb player. This isn't some guy who just, spent his entire life just playing football and that's all he could do. You're starting to see that more. And it's not just, some of the more affluent guys who come from, affluent families or whatever it might be. Think of like Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer was ready to quit. And he basically told the Bengals, I'm not fucking going to play football anymore. I'm not going to play for you. And I don't care. I'll sit out because I've taken care of myself. Carson Palmer's background, you go look at his background, it ain't what most of the NFL players is. You know what I mean?
He's from the Fresno area, right?
No.
No.
He's not.
Right, take that back.
No.
Where's he from?
No.
How would I know that?
I believe, I don't. Now you got me confused. You got me questioning.
All right, I'll look it up.
But
it says
but
here he's
what?
from Fresno in the Wikipedia page. That's why I remembered that. So maybe he is from Fresno. I don't know. Oh, he's from USC. He's from USC, but I mean, like, he's actually from the Fresno.
No, I mean, he's from Southern California.
Oh, okay. So he may have been born there, then he just eventually. Okay, I got you.
But I don't actually. I mean, he's from Southern California, and he's not from a. I'm pretty sure he went to probably a private school or some shit like that.
You would be correct.
I'm
I
not
see right
mistaken.
here. Yep, in Orange County. Okay, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, but my point is that you have more guys that are now the Chris Borland's of the world, the Calvin Johnsons, the Patrick Willises. Like, these are people who are making decisions based on themselves, and that's not really. I think it's just a new era for football. I don't think that you're going to see 10% of the league start retiring earlier than we think, but I think you're going to start seeing this little by little, more and more, and it might already be happening on the back end of rosters, and guys have just kind of given up sooner because they realize that they're punishing themselves and they're never going to really ever make it.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't have the numbers on that. It's just literally just me just bullshitting. So I have no clue if that's actually true or not. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what, though. This is I like it. I think that's great. I think it's great because we've seen so many of these guys. Jim McMahon, to give you an example, and guys we've lost like Junior Seau. They've just gone completely crazy. And it's just purely painful by all accounts. So whenever someone does retire, what seems like with a year or two left on the table, I'm very happy for that guy because I think life is often more important than just a sport. So you might take the hit financially, but you'll gain so much intellectually, I think.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
So to the subject of Peyton Manning, again, he played a long time, and we're not going to speculate on what his future may be. We'll speculate currently on the present. And two things I want to say about Peyton Manning. Number one, he's having a terrible year. I mean, there's nothing I've seen from him, even in the playoffs, that has changed my opinion about him this season. He just doesn't look good. He's old. He's washed up. He can't throw the ball downfield anymore. He just doesn't look that good. The second point is, besides the defense, we'll get to the defense in a minute. The PED allegations, now I got to read on this, but it's very curious how the media has been pretty defensive of him, kind of really not really going to task with this situation, and Jim Nantz in particular not wanting to address it at all. A little curious, and you recognize that maybe they're in cahoots with each other, but still, a little funny.
Wait, what are we talking about here?
Manning's PED allegations.
Oh. You know what? I'll keep it at this. This is what I'll say.
Okay.
Nobody deserves the benefit of the doubt. Nobody. Absolutely fucking nobody. I don't give a shit if it's Peyton Manning. And I'm tired of people defending Peyton Manning as if it's a lie. It could be. It very well could be. It could be complete bullshit, and they've been bad reporting, and shame on them if it is. But at the end of the day, we've had so many fucking people say, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, and it's exactly what the fuck they did. So I don't give a shit what Peyton Manning says. I don't care if he emphatically comes out against it. It doesn't matter to me. Outside of that, I really don't give a shit.
Okay, fair. On we go then. Let's go into his career in total, which has been a very good career. I mean, it's really been great. I think that the timing for him to hang it up now, if he follows through, is good. I think, I don't think you can say that last year was definitively the time to go, but I can say that definitively next year, I just think he's going to have a really tough time. It was similar to Favre in his final year. I felt like he should have been done the year before, but he kept going, and he got embarrassed. Like, it was really bad. So this seems to me like this is the time for it to end. And it seems like Manning feels the same way, whether it's because of just the fact that his skills have eroded or the swirling allegations of PD. It doesn't matter. The point is, this is the time for him to put an end to his career. And so the question for me right off the bat, with the Denver's really good defense, and at one point they were considered the number one defense in football. Did you ever agree with that? Like throughout the year, would you ever think at any point during the season that the Broncos defense was number one?
I really think it's kind of like, I don't think you can really say that about defenses.
Okay.
It's really hard to say that about defense. I mean, I think you could say things like they have the best pass rush.
Right.
They have the best pass defense. So earlier I said the Panthers had the best running game. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard because there's so many moving parts.
Right.
I think they had the most complete. Outside of the quarterback position, I think they had the most complete team in the league. Which is weird to say because they had Peyton fucking Manning to start the year. But I really felt that they had the most complete team. But they were flawed at quarterback because, Peyton, we didn't know where he was at. We didn't know what he was doing. But defensively, they had enough on that side of the ball. So I don't know if it was the best, but it was certainly, I mean, they could get after the quarterback. And they got some damn good corners out there. They got some good middle linebackers. They got a great defensive line. I mean, what the fuck else do you need, right?
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I mean, who gives a shit? They're in the Super Bowl. So they're pretty damn good. Let's put it that way.
They do have a lot of pieces that are very, very solid. I do think that, and I am a fan of their defense. I think their defense is very good. So I was certainly surprised when they beat New England, but as the game was getting closer, I'm like, I had a little piece of me that thought that they could do it just because their defense was going to keep them in the game, and it's exactly what happened. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. It was a 2-point game late, and it wasn't a 2-point game near the end because the Patriots had a touchdown to get it to 2 points. Then they needed to do the 2-point conversion to tie, and they failed that, and that's how the game ended. But for the Broncos, and again, like you said, it's a very, the most important position on the team is the worst position on the team. That's basically it.
It's, yeah. I'll say this. It's just in terms of, that game against the Patriots. It was the one game that I was really not sure of in the playoffs. I really thought the Patriots were going to take them down. I actually did pretty well this year. I think I did pretty well predicting all the games. It was the one game that I was not as confident on.
I see.
But I was with you. I thought the Patriots were gonna they're gonna be able to do a lot. But you gotta give credit to that defense.
Oh yeah.
And it was mostly that pass rush.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pass rush. Period.
Yep.
They opened it up for them, and you can look at that one extra point, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of plays that defense made and the Patriots didn't make that ended up changing it. You could even look at, you set aside the decisions to go for it on fourth down that Belichick made. There was a lot of plays in that game that They just executed better than the Patriots, period. And it is that defense. You know, Peyton is just not the guy that he used to be. But you know what? He's doing what he has to do, and he's not doing too much. And they're running the ball pretty well, and that defense is just pinning its ears back and getting after the quarterback. I don't know how effective that's going to be against Cam Newton.
True.
But yeah.
So
I'm with you on that.
Well, very good, Jake. So what is the key to winning the game for the Broncos? If they're going to win, what will they have to do? You mentioned the pass rush. Will that be a key factor? It's a stupid question, but go on.
Well, part of the problem with the Panthers is the way that they run the football.
Right.
The danger that Cam Newton presents. The fact that they have really good, kind of quick slash type running backs. And it takes away the ability to apply pressure, sort of like, the Patriots love to throw the football. I mean, like, in retrospect, it makes sense why the Broncos won that game, right?
Right.
They like to throw the ball. Their offensive line is a little banged up. It's been a bit of a project for them the last couple seasons. And they got after the quarterback. And Tom Brady, just like any other quarterback, under pressure isn't going to be tough, but it's not going to be an easy day. And he's a bit of a statue back there.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't have the same advantages against the Panthers because they don't have to sit back and fling it. They just don't have to. And when they do, it's usually on their own terms. It's not on yours. And it's just not a good position for the Broncos to be in. So I think really the key for them is containing Cam Newton, containing the run game first, forcing the Panthers in the positions they don't want to be in. And then on the offense side of the ball, really just don't make mistakes. Run the football. I think it's a grinded-out type game. I don't think they want to get into a big-scoring game against the Broncos. I think they want to against the Panthers. It's a low-scoring, grinded-out, old-school football, ball control, all that shit. That's how you beat the Panthers because it's really the only way. And it's how they've won this year for the most part against better teams. That's how they've done it. And if you need it, you pray to fucking God, Allah, whoever. Pray to anybody and everybody that Peyton can put it together at the last minute if you need it, or the defense gets a turnover because I think that's the best way at this point.
That's good, Jake. I like that. That's a very good comprehensive analysis. So when you have it all together, you look at these two teams. Let's put it into words. Who do you have winning, and what is your predicted final score? I'll reveal mine later in the week as we get to the conclusion of our Super Bowl week. But as of right now, who do you think wins the game by how much?
I could be wrong, but I believe that my previous prediction last week, which I'm going to stick by for now, is Panthers 27, Broncos 17.
All right, so a 10-point win. Let me write that down, actually, because I want to document this for my records. So Jacob has Panthers. I write this down on paper. Just a sec here. Yeah, I think it's a good prediction. I really do. I think I can't spell, but Panthers 27-17. All right, so let's do that. Okay, very good. So, yeah, it should be a fun time. Any other scenarios you wanted to comment on from the Super Bowl game? Anything that was on your mind?
Not really.
Okay. That's fine by me. It's gonna, even though it does look to me and to you and to Andrew and to everybody that the Panthers will win this game by, well, I shouldn't. Oh, I just put myself in the ring. But to many people, the point is to many people that the Panthers will win the game. I still think by the time we get to the end of the week, I will be looking forward to the game because I just want to see how it's done. You know what I mean? Like, even though it doesn't seem like it's a very, it's not. It's a fairly predictable outcome, which probably will take place. But you're still interested in the details. Like, how will it happen? And will it go exactly the way we think it's going to go? Maybe it won't. Maybe one team will turn the ball over a lot. Turnover certainly will be a big deal in this game, but it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of by the end of it, I think it's going to be a very good watch, at least for the first 2 quarters. So does that mirror your?
Well, to add to that, a couple of things. One, I don't think you can count out a team with a good defense and a good run game.
Yeah.
Ever.
Absolutely.
You just can't count them out, and you can't count out a better quarterback like Peyton Manning, even if he's having a bad year. On top of that, I would say that when you look at how the Broncos have won games and how they've lost games, you look at the game a couple of years ago against the Seahawks. They were banged up a lot on defense. I think a lot of people underestimated that. And I think they underestimated the ability of the Seahawks front line. And they ended up dominating. I just don't think that you have the same situation with the Panthers. I could see a potential blowout. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see that happening the way it did against the Seahawks. Their defense is too good. And I just don't think that the Panthers' front seven is – I don't think they have the pass rushing ability. What they don't have is they don't have Michael Bennett. I think Michael Bennett's that much of a difference maker. They have great players in the front seven, but I just don't think they have that kind of more just kind of wreck everything and make problems for everybody type player that the Seahawks have and had at that time. So, I think you're right. I think as the week goes on and you could see it kind of starting to get close, I'm going to get excited probably. I still think the Panthers win, but it'd be nice to see a close game.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. Just like you said, the defense will make that happen. You notice one thing I was going to say to the question of the blowouts. They tend to happen when a really good defensive team meets a really good offensive team that does not have a good defense. And the Denver Broncos were banged up, but even before they were banged up, I don't remember their defense being that great. I blew it.
Not as good as they were this year, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I blew it completely. And you actually were with me on that remarkably. It's just amazing how persuasive the media can be in getting you to convince you that some team is better at something than they actually are. So that's something you got to be careful of. You just got to watch the game yourself and kind of make your own opinion. This time around, I think we did a better job of that. I think that goes for both of us.
I agree, 100%.
Good deal. So enjoy the game, sir. It's really great to catch up with you. Hopefully, not the last time.
Well, we had other questions, though, man. I mean, we got 2 minutes, and I had questions for you.
All right. You going to ask the pancake question?
We're going to do it real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
Okay.
Here's the questions. Number 1, Dave. What's the best kind of pancake batter?
Chocolate chip pancakes. It's a huge fan of chocolate chip.
Okay. Why are pancakes better than waffles in one sentence?
Succulence, in one sentence, I get a whole sentence, okay. They're much more succulent and tasty and more consistent than the waffle can ever be.
All right, good. Dave's favorite pancakes, chocolate chip, said, but why?
Chocolate chips, when they're melted, really creates it oozes out, and it just creates entire little capsules of flavor that would not otherwise be in a typical pancake.
All right. What is the cream in Oreos? This is a trick question because it's nuclear waste.
That's a mystery, right? Isn't it? I mean, my answer is sugar, but it really is a mystery. I can't say.
It's nuclear waste.
All right. Any others?
If I ate too many Flaming Hot Cheetos as a kid, will I die alone?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sad. It's true.
Yeah, the last one was who was going to win the Super Bowl. I thought that's how the show was going to go. We were going to talk about these.
Yeah, all right. I'll tell you who's going to win. I mean, look, this is my show. I think the Panthers are going to win. And I'll go into more detail on Wednesday, but I like Carolina.
All right, buddy. Well, I'll let you get on with your show now.
Well
I don't
done.
know about your pancake spiel.
What are your favorite pancakes? What's your favorite batter?
I just love just regular old pancakes, man.
Just plain
buttermilk
okay.
pancakes.
But
Yeah.
they
Give me
are
some
good.
butter and maple syrup, man.
I love
butter, maple syrup, and just buttermilk pancakes. That's all I need. I'm a simple guy. Pepperoni pizza,
Right.
burgers without cheese and onions and
Yep.
tomatoes. Give me the meat, salt and pepper, pickles, lettuce, mayonnaise, whatever sauce you want. I'm a simple guy.
Yeah, you know, you've been consistent too. You forever.
Yeah.
And you're a Jack and Coke guy in the beginning. I don't know what you do now for alcohol, but
I just drink everything in sight
okay.
until I pass out.
How often did that happen? No.
I'm just kidding.
No,
No,
it
I'm
doesn't
too
matter.
old
We're
for
just
that
we're
now.
just goofing
I'm
around. Yeah.
getting way too old now. I can't even handle anything. It's sad. It's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad.
It's part of aging, right? Yep. We're all kind of in the same boat. All right,
I
guy.
blame you. It's all your fault.
Well,
All right, buddy.
all right, bud. Enjoy the game.
You too, man.
All right, bud. Good chatting with you. All right.
Peace.
Jacob Rosales, once again gracing the airwaves with us. I just love it. I can't wait to talk to him again. It's great to chat with him and catch up. So that's our show for today. Tomorrow, we're back. We're doing 3 shows this week. Join Tom in New Jersey and hopefully Andy in Seattle as we continue our Super Bowl coverage. But till then, we'll be on, I don't know, like a 20-hour break. We'll see you next time.